And I think we should now be live. Hello everyone and welcome to an F1 2022 event here at China for, as it says in the name, an F1 2022 event at China. It's been a while since I've done commentary on the F1 game, but I am back in the commentary box. I think this is my first commentary on the on this game actually for Gavra, so it's great to be back. Hello Zexify, already in the chat. We've only just started the stream. I believe you are on the grid. Indeed, you are in the Red Bull. How unfortunate you are in the Red Bull. But glossing over the fact that you are in a Red Bull, we've got 20 drivers on the grid and all 10 teams, which is beautiful to see. I am so unprepared for this that I haven't even got all the stuff up that we should get up. Let's get the... we don't need the telemetry. We can get the... Everyone's on softs. You can change the tyres now, so we don't really need tyres. Yeah. Fastest lap, we'll go fastest lap, and that as well. Lovely stuff. There's a lot more stuff on this than there is GT7, which if you watch the GT7 season, we're currently at round 8, then you'll be familiar how little graphics I have now without my keyboard. But F1 has a beautiful leaderboard on the left hand side of the screen, a nice map in the top and bottom right, and I should turn my phone off so we don't get distracted by that. I saw another comment in the chat as well. Thank you. Actually, I'll get the stream up on my phone as well, so I can see the chats as well and all the messages that come flooding in. I was going to say something and I have completely forgotten about it. It probably won't come back until I've pressed end stream. Oh, it's completely gone. Oh yes, that was it. I was going to do an audio check, but someone said I've got a very nice voice, which I do appreciate. Thank you very much. So I'm guessing you can all hear me, which is lovely to hear. Unless you don't like my commentary, then, well, that's unfortunate. I'll make sure to speak loud and clear enough so that subtitles appear on the bottom when you watch it back later. So, yeah, that's an option. Anyway, let's get into qualifying. I've not done a qualifying session in a long time, actually, because now that I've put myself on the GT7 grid, when I do the commentary back for the race on the replay feature, it's just the race, there's no qualifying. So it's been a while since I commentated on a qualifying session. And again, I don't even commentate on the qualifying session. I often waffle on about either the championship or something random that's happened in the week. But seeing as this is a one-off event, there is no championship standings to go off. There are no facts. The only facts I do have is about the track, but we'll get onto that later on throughout the course of the stream. Meanwhile, Mercedes, Joshi going around the final corner. Will be the first driver to set a lap on the red stripe soft compound tyres. It's a 1 minute 34.0. Sets the benchmarker, which is quickly beaten by the Alfa Romeo of SW. It's a 33.1. For those who are familiar with my F1 commentaries, most recently at the Academy from last year's game, it takes me a while to learn everyone's names. I need to, look at everyone for a solid 10 seconds individually in order to get their name, just so I don't mispronounce anyone or do anything bad, if you know what I'm trying to say. So apologies if I go silent for a while. It's because I'm trying to, read everyone's names, which I didn't do in the lobby because I was paying for something else. Meanwhile, Nabil, quite similar to Nabil Sick, if you remember him from a couple of seasons ago. Nabil goes second place in the Haas. We've got... you know what? I'm going to ignore the names for now. I know that's going to sound really bad. Don't worry, I will give everyone a shout out at some point during the race, because obviously there are some names I'm familiar with, and there's a lot of new drivers to this event as well. And I don't want to just go into it blindly, mispronounce everyone. So we've got a lot of lap times coming in, but I've just said I'm not going to read out the names, which is really bad. I'm so unprepared for this stream. This is not great on my return, but we will pick up the flow as we go on. The race will be as smooth as... I don't know, it will be smooth. SW into the pits. We'll be putting on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. We've got Fett in second place with a 1 minute 33.62, not 2 tenths, that's way more than 2 tenths, it's 5 tenths off pole position, closer to 4 tenths to be perfectly honest. We've got Nabil in third. I want to go with Jamin v Alonso. We could go with Jamin or Alonso. I might go Alonso, seeing as he's in a McLaren. We've got Zexify in 5th place with a 33.7. Joshi's down to 6th. Paishu in 7th, Arpita in 8th, Ruud in 9th, Player in 10th, we've got Nico Zora in 11th, Fake in 12th, Terra Teddy in 13th, Denrod in 14th. I'm going to go with Tom, just Tom, just to keep it nice and simple. Andrei in 16th, Billy Misu in 17th, Jordif in 18th, John Wick in 19th, and Pusha Dino in 20th. There we go, we got through the whole grid, and I don't think I messed up anyone's name, which is what you love to see. Fett's not on a lap, he'll be coming into the pits. What about Paishu? I don't think he's on a lap either. We've got a few drivers who haven't set lap times yet. One of them is Denrod. Hello and welcome to everyone who is tuning in, watching the stream. How are you guys doing? Denrod in the Haas will be thanks, going around the final corner. It's a very cautious final corner, one that's really easy to run wide on exit. He goes up into 12th place. What about Tom? He's going through the middle sector. We've got Andrei who moves his Alpine up into 7th. We've got a Ferrari coming around the final corner. That's John Wick who's starting his first flying lap. Zach's fine in the chat saying this track is a tyre killer. Indeed, it is. I mean, on the old F1 games, it used to be one of those tracks where it'd be a medium hard. Now it's more of a medium hard, but you know, one of those tracks where it was either a 2-stop or a 1-stop, kind of like Mexico or Singapore on the old F1 games. Now every track is a medium hard, predominantly on this game. But especially with its technical, tricky sector, its long, swooping right-handers of turn 1 and I want to say turn 13, the swooping right-hander before the 1 kilometre back straight. 2 tyre killers at the circuit. We've got an Alpine or a Williams coming around the final corner. Let's try and find, is it Tom? It is Tom, goes up into 10th place. We had a spinner, but we will brush the embarrassment of spinning from whoever it was who span. I believe it might have been Terra Teddy, who's currently down in 17th place with a 2-minute 2. I reckon he can definitely go a little bit quicker than that. We've got a McLaren pulling into the pits, and we've got an AlphaTauri. I think that's Jordif coming around the final corner. Indeed it is, car number 99 in the AlphaTauri. Doesn't go over the white line on the exit, keeps it nice on the curb, but it's a 1 minute 50.6. Looks like he's going for another lap. DRS wide open going in towards turn 1. I said car number 99, it's car number 92. My apologies. Who's next round the line? We've got John Wick on an invalid lap, so this lap will not count. Is he going to pull into the pits and go again? No, he's going to go again. Round the final corner. Would have been a 1 minute 40, but I think he might have backed out in the end just to save some tyres and put the ERS back up, or saved the ERS, sorry, to get it back up to, or as close to 100% as possible. And you know what, let's get an onboard lap from the onboard of the Williams, making his way through turns 1, 2 and 3. The little kink of turn 4. There's a Haas that's just had an incident on the exit of turn 4, moves nicely off to the side of the circuit as we approach the first sector. Let's actually get the sector time up to 24.8 for John Wick going through the first sector, negotiating turn 6 cleanly. Right-hander where Daniel Ricciardo made his a dive bomb per se on his late move on Bottas a few years ago. The tyre killer section of turn 7, 8 and the left-hander of 9. Keeps it within the boundaries, doesn't take too much curb on the inside of turn 10. It's a short run down towards turn 11 where the second sector ends and the third one starts. It's a 53.5 through the middle sector for John Wick. Don't ask me, I have absolutely no idea if that's good or not. It's a long swooping right-hander which leads into a 1 kilometre back straight, keeping the steering wheel nice and straight, keeping the car all the way over to the left-hand side of the circuit. The DRS flies open on the rear of the scarlet red Ferrari, looking out for the 100-metre board, braking heavily, careful not to lock up the front tyres, going in towards the sharp 180-degree corner of turn 14, a key overtaking opportunity for the race, but as the Ferrari now approaches the final corner, doesn't take too much entry or exit curb, keeps it within the boundaries, it's up to the line, and it's P10, inside the top 10 for John Wick, is about second off provisional pole position, which is still held by the Alfa Romeo of SW, who pulls into the pits once again, bailing on a second soft lap. Billy Misu, driving the Mercedes for tonight's race, still remains in the pit lane, and the mechanics don't appear to be pulling the car out at the minute, so it's going to wait a few more minutes before you see the second Mercedes out on circuit. We've got Joshy making his way through the middle sector. Player on the mediums, interestingly, making his way through the final sector in what is a very muddy and dirty Alfa Romeo. 14 cars separate the two Alphas as things stand in this qualifying session, but interesting the player's gone for the medium compound tyres. You can qualify on the softs and choose to start the race on whatever tyre you choose to do so. Jordiff has actually gone up into second place. I didn't realise that, or maybe I did realise that and completely forgot. Dino up into third, Pusher Dino for the Red Bull team. His teammate it's Zexify currently in 8th place, a fellow commentator who's 2/10 up through the middle sector. It was a 52.7 I believe it was. He's only got one more corner to negotiate to finish this lap. Through the final corner, does he invalidate? Keeps it within the white lines. We've got yellow flags in sector 2 and sector 3 up to the line behind his teammate on the second row of the grid. It's P4 by 0.3 of a second. It's a 33.444 P4. Is he number 4 as well? I don't think he is. That kind of ruins it slightly. No, he's number 7. We're close. 3 numbers off. 3 numbers off. But we can't. Car number 8. Fett's going in towards turn 1. Zexify complaining about traffic in the chat. Have a word to the Yuki Tsunoda. He's familiar with a little bit of traffic on the qualifying laps. It looks like Fett has backed off. We've got Nabil into the pits. We've got Jamin going around the final corner. We've got Mr. Alonso himself back at the McLaren seat. So he's all the way over to the left hand side before going through the final corner. Takes a lot of entry curb on the inside up to the line. Improves by 0.2, goes up into 6th place behind the Mercedes of Joshi, which is in the pits. And we've got Billy Misu out on the circuit, currently down the back straight on his outlap, warming up the tyres with his Lando Norris helmet on. Terra Teddy, 9.6 seconds up through the first sector. I told you we can find time. Must have made a mistake somewhere within the first few corners in his flying lap. Let's have a look to see if someone's come around the final few corners. We've got Andrei not improving as things stand. We've got his teammate Nico Zora is round the final corner. Was improving by 0.003, but has invalidated. There's a Red Bull pulling into the pits, and I believe the other Red Bull of Zexify. No, Pusher Dino is going to come into the pits. No, takes a nice wide line through the final corner. Maybe not too nice, because that might have lost him a little bit of time. And I think that was starting his lap. Who was that improving? That was Andrei improving by 2.5. Goes up into 7th place. Makes his Alpine the number 1 Alpine on the session so far. His teammate down into 17th place, but I've seen Nico Zora in the academy from the 2021 season. I know what he can do. He can fight for some decent points. I can't remember much of that season. It was a great season. Someone's just improved. I believe that was Terra Teddy, who's gone up into 7th place. The 33.5. It's really close in the top 6. Only 0.5 separating actually the top 10 per se. The top 10 separated by half a second as Nico Zora for the Alpine team, rounding turn 12 and into the far super right end of turn 13. Will pick up his progress a little later on in the lap, because we've got Billy Misu in the Mercedes rounding the hairpin of turn 14, the penultimate corner of this circuit, rounding the final corner now for the first time on a qualifying lap in George Russell's Mercedes up to the line, and it's the first row of the grid. P2 less than 1/10 off pole position, and that's a decent first lap from Billy Misu. Maybe he can go one extra and put it on pole position if he can bring it back to the pits and get out in time with only 3 minutes left to go. Nico Zora, he's 0.5 off his personal best and doesn't improve up to the line. Will remain 19th place. SW has invalidated on his qualifying lap. He's still set the 1 minute 33.197 that he did on his first lap in qualifying. So it's a pretty impressive first qualifying lap. We're kind of at that phase now in qualifying where all the drivers are either into the pits or on out laps as we set up for the final few runs in qualifying. Our pitter for the Ferrari was 16th, improves by 0.5 and goes up into 13th behind his teammate John Wick in 12th place. We've got Paishu round off at turn 13 in the gravel, doesn't quite keep it out of the barrier. That could be rear wing damage, but I think he might have got away with it and has retired from the session. Will no longer take any part in qualifying and will start no higher than 14th place. A player looks like he'll be into the pits this up. I think we're going to get a lot of drivers rushing back to the pits to see if they can make it for one more qualifying lap SW. He's preparing himself for a flying lap. We've got Biddy Misu on a flying out lap, I believe. Yeah, he's in the 1 minute 28, so he is setting himself up for his final laps in qualifying. We've got Terra Teddy on a lap, half a tenth of his personal best through the first sector. A lot of drivers leaving the pit lane. There's going to be a bit of traffic for anyone who's just about to start their laps. We've got John Wick halfway round the lap, going down the back straight. What about Rudd? Oh, Rudd, sorry, there's an R in there. Goes around the final corner. He won't be improving on his time. Will be, maybe, I think he's starting his... Oh no, did he improve? Yeah, he did improve. It said he was down in his time a second ago, but it does improve to a 34.2. Players are 10th up, so we're going to get a lot of drivers improving. Is that Sexify going around the final corner? It is. And we've got a 5-place penalty for SW for a collision with Pusher Dino. Not sure where's that's what's happened there, but Dino on an out lap. We've got a car off. It is SW. Was SW on a flying lap, and did Pusher Dino get in the way on his out lap? Obviously, I'm not going to make any accusations or false claims because I didn't see it. Don't want to judge anyone. So there might have been a little bit of a traffic altercation between the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo, but your provisional pole sitter now with a 5-place grid penalty will start highest, 6th place for the race. But it might not be too bad because I've started 6th place here at China before. I think it was 6th place. It was 2 years ago, can't quite remember, and won that race. So it's a decent position to start the race from. It has got a good track record so far. Everyone on flying laps apart from 4 drivers. Billy Misu, Arpita, 5 drivers even. Tom, Denrod and Nico Zora all staying in the pits. We've got a Red Bull Pichadino up to the line. Oh yeah, will not improve because he had the collision early on. We've got Jamin Alonso up to the line, improved by 2/10 but stays in 7th place. What about Andrei? He improved by 2/10 but stays in 9th. A lot of improvements but no position gains. What about John Wick rounding the final corner? Jordan has retired manually on circuit in the middle sector. Hopefully that doesn't affect anyone's lap. Up to the line for John Wick. Where does he go? He stays in 12th place. It looks like the AlphaTauri has pulled off to the side of the circuit nice and cleanly. Zexify up to the line. He's 5/10 up. Goes provisional pole position. It's a 1 minute 32.4 and he goes 7/10 clear of the nearest rival who has a 5-place grid penalty in the race. That was a brilliant lap from Zexify in the Red Bull. Pusher Dino, his teammate, currently in 5th, making his way through the middle sector. We've got an Aston Martin off halfway down the straight. That is Fett. No, it's not Fett, it's the other one. It's fake. No, it's not fake, it's real, but it's fake as in his name's fake. But it's not fake because it's real, but his name's fake. Going around the final couple of corners in the Aston Martin. One more corner to go, and I don't think he's going to be improving because there's yellow flag. He caused the yellow flags. What am I? Got a bit lost there in the commentary. Got a bit too excited. What about Fett, his teammate? Looks like there might have been a... so it's Williams getting out of the way for all the cars going through. He runs very wide, and the track map lights red, meaning he has invalidated his lap. What about Nabil in the Haas? Can he improve, go inside the top 10? Not on this occasion. Pusher Dino goes up into 4th place for the Red Bull team. All eyes now on the Alpine of Andrei. What a nice tow from the McLaren in front of him. The 2 cars who are still on the qualifying laps, the McLaren taking a different line. It sounds like Andrei has backed off his lap here. He won't be improving, neither will the McLaren. It's a drag race up to the line to end the qualifying session, but it's Zexify on pole position here at China for the Red Bull team. 7/10 clear of SW, who will start in 7th place with a 5-place grid penalty. So Billy Misu will join him on the front row of the grid. Pusher Dino in 4th alongside Yordif. Sorry, Pusher Dino now in 3rd with Yordif in 4th. Joshi in 6th. SW in 7th, and the McLaren will start in where, I don't know, we'll see in the grid. We'll get there eventually. Here's your grid once again, and look how close it was. If you remove Zexify from the equation, what's that? 11th to 4, a second separated by only 4/10 of a second. And at a technical track such as China, that is not a big gap. We're in for a good race, I think, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the gap's further down below, separated by only a couple of hundredths. But let's get through the rest of the grid. We've got Joshi jamming in 7th place, Terra Teddy in 8th, Andrai in 9th, Bet in 10th, Nabila in 11th, John Wick in 12th, Fake in 13th, Arpita in 14th, Peister in 15th, Rud in 16th, Player in 17th, Tom in 18th, Denrod in 19th, and Nico Zoro will start at the back of the grid in 20th. I really hate this part of the race where it's the loading screen and there's nothing to talk about. It's a good time to have a refreshment, actually. This is where I need a co-commentator to talk about things such as strategy, who they think is going to win the race, who could be an underdog, a dark horse in this race, someone who might not have had the best qualifying position, who could fight their way through the field. But just like GT7, I am alone, unfortunately. F's in the chat, sad face emoji. But it's all good because I've been doing it for a while by myself, so I've got pretty used to it. And yeah, it's the thing you fear about doing co-commentary is that you don't bounce off each other. That's what, if anyone in the chat is watching this and wants to do commentary, wants to start doing commentary, if you're doing commentary with someone, just make sure you bounce off each other. Oh, are we going straight into this? We're going straight into this, or is there a formation now? I have an absolute... No, there's a 4. Oh no, it's a lights out, and away we go. Completely missed it. I've messed that up. Xxify off to a good start. Pusher Dino jumps Biddy me, so it's a side by side between the two Mercedes. The Alpha Tauri of Jordif on the inside as well. We've got cars off at the back. We've got Fett, who's retired before they've approached turn 1. 5-second time penalty for Tom. Yellow flags in all 3 sectors. I don't think we've got a safety car just yet. We've got the predicted pit stop strategies on the bottom of the screen. We do have a safety car. Already a safety car in this race. I didn't even realise before the race has started. I thought there was going to be a formation that caught me napping. But Zexify off to a good start, maintains the lead of the race initially. Pusher Dino jumped Billy Misu off the line, but then the Mercedes got back ahead of the Red Bull. It's a Red Bull 1-3 and a Mercedes 2-4. Jamming in 5th, we got a drive. Oh, it was a VSC. It wasn't even a safety car. It was a VSC. We got a drive-through penalty for Billy Misi for speeding under the virtual safety car and going above his delta. We got Nara Pitta around the outside of Nabil with a Ferrari getting ahead of the Haas. 3 Ferrari powered cars fighting for the 11th place as Player was temporarily ahead of the Haas, but then tucks back in behind for now. Still a very dirty Alfa Romeo. Positions changing up front. We've got Joshi now ahead of Pusher Dino. Yellow flags in the middle sector as that looks like it's Alpita who's round in the background. The Ferrari doing a 360 in the middle of the circuit now, facing the right direction. A few cars running wide. We've got a Haas putting over to the right hand side of the circuit, but Pusher Dino now down into 5th place as we approach the heavy breaker zone of turn 14. There's a car around. That's Jordiff. I don't know if he reset the track there. That looks very suspicious. Nico Zora has gone to the shadow realm. He's off into the gravel, misjudging his braking point for turn 14. Zexify sets the fastest lap of the race on the medium compound tyres. I'll get all that back up on the screen in a minute. Look what's happening here. Lots of on-track squabbling for 7th place. Player on the inside of Terra. We've got Pusher on the inside. We've got a car round. That is the Haas of Nabil facing the wrong direction. Drops down to 16th place. We've got the McLaren and the Red Bull side by side on the exit of turn 4. It's going to be the inside line for the Red Bull of Pusher. Can he get his way ahead of the McLaren? Indeed he can for now. I don't think he's going to be able to fight it round the outside. And that is Pusher back up into 4th place. Let's get stuff back up on the screen. We've got the tyres. And there we go. Terra up into 4th. 10th place. Contact between the two Williams drivers. Where is Tom? He's still on the circuit, but a little bit of a nudge. And he's lost his front left end plate. Whether that was caused with the contact between his teammate, I don't think it was. I think he might have got that earlier as Nabil fighting his way through the field round the outside of Rudd. Gets the position done. Pushing out on the inside of Jamin. Gets the position back. So he's going to try and go around the outside of the Mercedes of Joshi. Betts has retired from the session. No, he's left the session. He's already retired. Are they going to go 3 wide down the back straight? This could be a really good move from Jamie's fighting. He's in the system with the Mercedes. He's got past 1. Can he get past 2 to the inside of the Mercedes? Late on the brakes. Down towards the hairpin of turn 14. Can Josh swoop it round the outside? He's gone wide off the circuit. The Red Bull Pusher might be able to follow the Mercedes through, but they're still going to go side by side on the exit. Can Joshy swoop it round the outside? Contact between the two. They both spin round. The Pusher gets caught up in it as well. Jordiff goes up into 4th, Vega up into 3rd place, and very reminiscent of what happened in the Premier Series on last season. They're 3 wide going in towards turn 1. Andrei, contact again between Joshi. This time it's Andrei on the Alpine who has reset the tracks. Unfortunately, that is a disqualification from the race, and I think that might have been Terra also resetting to the track. So the stewards could be a little bit busy in determining how many drivers have reset the track, but I think we've had 2 or 3 drivers, Terra and Andrei, certainly resetting the track down at turn 1 after contact with the Mercedes. 2 crashes at 2 corners for Joshi, and wow, what a start to this race. Terra now trying to get back past the McLaren up into 11th place, but Jamin's going to try and fight this one to the outside. Apologies. There's contact. I don't know if there was contact, but Terra's been spun round, and it's a disaster. Joshi now down to 8th place, battling with Denrod in the Haas. Denrod trying to go around the outside, down at turn 10, 3 wide with the SW and the Alfa Romeo to the inside. Contact will bang in between the 3 drivers. The other Haas, Nabil goes through both of them. Can he make it a triple overtaking around the outside of SW, who's pulled a little bit of a gap? 2 by 2 between the Mercedes, the Haas, and the McLaren as we start what was only on lap 3. The slipstream train continues to grow as they approach the heavy braking zone of turn 14. Look at this, as late on the brakes to push Dino side by side with Player and gets the move done. Back up into 5th place. Billy Misi with the first penalty of the evening. Denrod up ahead of the McLaren, up into 10th place, scoring 1 point for the team as Joshi's into the pits. Billy Misu's also, sorry, that was Billy Misu into the pits. But both Mercedes in the pits. Was that a Ferrari off in the wall? No, the 2 Ferraris are going side by side now in towards turn 1. Which Ferrari is going to come out on top? It's Pitter on the outside, swoops round the outside of his teammate on the hard compound tyres for John Wick. Tucks back in behind his teammate. Andrei up into 10th place after he's got past the Alpha Tower, which has suffered some front wing damage. Zexify's got a 7-second lead because Fake's going to launch one to the inside of Jordiff, who runs wide off the track. Keeps 2nd place, and Pushtino's going to get interested in this particular battle. Capitalises on the slow exit from the Aston Martin, goes up into a podium position. Yellow flags in the first sector. That is Joshi, who's coming out the pits on the hard compound tyres, or it could be Tom, who's also approaching the first corner. 3 drivers fighting for 2nd place in this race. Zexify's really pulled out a gap with all the contact and the squabbling that's been happening on behind him. He's probably enjoying it. Oh, that's a car off, and that is a huge crash for Andrei. That could be a safety car. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a safety car, and it is a virtual safety car on lap 4 of 28. Gives me a little bit of breathing space because I'm going to need it. Carnage at the start of this race. Overtakes, contact, everything the viewers love to see. Will Zexify dive it into the pits? No, he won't. I don't think we're going to see anyone pulling into the pits. Maybe Player off of the soft compound tyres. We've got a 5-second penalty for contact under the VSC, and that's the McLaren off and round facing the wrong direction. And he's lost his front wing. Not sure exactly what's happened there with the McLaren driver. Drivers putting into the pits. Dino off of the mediums, Player off of the softs. I thought he would come in. Billy Misu, 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Billy Misu's really been handed a few penalties at the start of this race. As we've got about 8 drivers into the pits, off of the medium tyres that go onto the hards. Oh, it's a full safety car. I didn't even see the safety car. I didn't see the dot on the map. Is that someone overtaking this? Oh, they are overtaking the safety car. Okay. I didn't realise they were overtaking the safety car. I saw the AlphaTauri overtaking the safety car. I got really confused. But a safety car has been deployed. Looks like the VSC got upgraded to a full safety car then, because the yellow dot certainly wasn't on the map when the safety car got deployed. So Zexify's 10-second advantage over the rest of the field will now become null and void. And it will be reduced to about a couple of tenths as the field now bunch up for a restart, which should get restarted at the end of lap 7 by the time drivers come into the pits, change their tyres and catch back up to the rest of the field. I didn't even get to do my track packs, Gavra, because I usually do it on the formation lap, but there was no formation lap. I can't believe I had them all up on the screen ready. Now we're under the safety car. There's not much to talk about, so let's go through track facts about the Shanghai International Circuit. So for tonight's 50% race, we've got 28 laps of the 5.4 kilometre long circuit. Usually, when the 5 red lights are being counted down, I would have gone pole positions on the left-hand side, and the run down towards turn 1 is 267 metres. Didn't get to do that because I thought there was going to be a formation lap. Unfortunate timing, there was no formation lap. Cars are full throttle, drivers are full throttle for about 55% of the lap. The longest flat-out section is 1.3 kilometres, which is the back straight from turn 13 to turn 14. There's an average of 51 gear changes per lap, and the time loss in the pit lane is only 18 seconds. Under a safety car, of course, that becomes about 8, 9, 10, roughly 10 seconds for time loss in the pit lane. And being a high deg circuit, it's been known for a 2-stop, made slightly easier by the short pit lane entrance and exits. Don't think we're going to see any 2-stops tonight, although the question is, can the hard tyres now get to the end of the race under the safety car? Can they do 22 laps? I don't know if they can. It will be a tough job, but I do think there could be a safety car later on in the race which will give Sexify and all those who have stayed out on their mediums and hards respectively the chance to pit. But I don't know. It's going to be with F1 and safety cars, you don't know until the driver has crossed the checkered flag at the end of the race. You do not know who could come out on top in that scenario, because of course someone like Zexify might get a safety car later in the race which could help him or not help him. He could win or come 11th just due to the timing of safety cars. But a safety car deployed after a VSC was not good enough on lap 5 to clear the debris from the Alpine. We will get the safety car out for one more lap, seeing as a few drivers, half the grid is yet to catch back up to the Mercedes AMG. But to run down your grid, we've got Zexify leading, followed by Yordif in second, SW's back up into third place, Nabil in fourth, Nikozora in fifth, John Wick in sixth, Paishu in seventh. Those are all the guys who have stayed out under the safety car. We've got Pusher in eighth, Player in ninth, Rerd in 10th, Fake in 11th, Arpita in 12th, Terran in 13th, Billy Meester in 14th, Denwood in 15th, Josh in 16th, Tom in 17th, and Jamin in 18th place. Let's have a look at the biggest gainers and per se losers, but obviously no one is a loser, it's just how many positions they've lost to make that very clear. Nikozora up 15 positions, Billy Meester down 12, Nabila up 7, Paistu, Player up 8 each. So some good big gains at the start of this race. We're on lap 7 of 28, about 25% of the way through this race. And already we've seen lots of action and lots of drama. This is where I need someone to talk to. I could talk to the chats. Yes, I do apologise, I forgot about the chat. Zexify in the chat saying, whoever pits, they'll be at a very high risk of a puncture, and the safety car will be in this lap, so I don't have to waffle for too much longer. Now, this is where, I can't remember who said it, I think it was Martin Brundle. It was Martin Brundle or Ted, one of the two, where they said safety car, no, it might have been Jenson Button. I think it was at the USA GP, where they were talking about DRS being activated on the lap after the safety car, rather than, on the third lap after a safety car. And then someone said safety cars cause more safety cars, and that is especially in the F1 game, that is a common statistic that's can occur. Let's hope for entertainment's sake that we don't get another safety car, because it kind of stops the flow of the race slightly. Zexify will leave the field, becomes the de facto safety car as Martin Tyler pulls into the pits. Burton Myland, I don't know where I got Martin Tyler from, pulls into the pits. Zexify leads the field in towards turn 1, starts 8 of 28. 21 laps to go in this race. SW not quite close enough to go for a move in towards turn 1. Any other drivers close enough? Trying to send one to the inside, or maybe swoop around the outside. We've got Josh Gavra on the back of Denrod, swooping through turn 1. And Mercedes, his teammate, trying to get ahead of the Williams of Terra Teddy. We've got Pushadino losing out as a player on the exit of turn 4. He's lost a couple of positions, now down to 10th, maybe even 11th, as it goes side by side with the Aston Martin in the run down towards turn 5. Possible move in the background for the Williams, but backed out of it on the Pitter's Ferrari. Pusher maintains 10th place after losing the position side by side through the SS section. Pusher on the outside becomes the inside for turn 8 and gets the main move done. Yellow flags in sector 2. And that is Denrod in the Haas with a spin. Whether there's contact, I'm not sure, but has got the car going once again. Zexify with a clean restart, 7 tenths clear of the sister team. AlphaTauri behind. Jordiff 99 in second place, also on the medium compound tyres. We've only got 4 drivers on the mediums. That's player running wide onto the grass, lucky not to light up the rears on the less grippy part of the circuit and spin the car around. Speaking of spinners, we've got another one that's an Aston Martin. It's fake. Round at the back, I think we've got another spinner. That's our Pitter. Losing a couple of positions. Are they 4 wide? They're 4 wide in towards the turn 14. It's a McLaren, a Mercedes, a Ferrari. Big crash. 3 wide in towards turn 1. The Ferrari's off. The McLaren on the inside of the Mercedes. Contact between those two. The Williams of Terra. Tom swooping in on the inside of the couple of cars. Terra gets a 3-second time penalty. Side by side in towards the final corner. The two Mercedes now battling for 14th place as the McLaren and the Williams bang wheels in the run down towards turn 1 on the start finish straight. Jamin on the inside. Joshy on the inside. 2 by 2, and Josh is round again, gets collected by his Mercedes teammates. It's a double disaster for the Mercedes team, and it's not the first time they've been involved in incidents in this race. The two Williamses running in 12th and 13th place. Nose to tail, as Zexify's gap has come down slightly to about 5-6 tenths of a second. Maybe Jordiff is pushing a little bit. Let's get the telemetry up so we can see the ERS and the ERS deployment on a couple of the cars. We've got Jamin who's pitted for the soft compound tyres. He's on a 2-stop strategy. Definitely on a 2-stop strategy, but drama all kicking off at the back of the grid. Yellow flags, the contact between our Pitter and Denrod. The Ferrari just turning in on the Haas, very similar to Sebastian Vettel in Baku, except that was under a safety car. This was under racing conditions. Not exactly what you want to see. His player gets ahead of the of Pice. There's drama on in the midfield, pushing now down to up into 9th place. Was running in 10th place. Rudd trying to sweep round the outside of the Red Bull. Can he make this move off? There's a McLaren that span round in the background. That's jamming, but we're going to watch the two Red Bull teams go side by side as Rudd gets a better exit through turn 13, gets ahead, might have deployed a little bit more for the overtake as down towards turn 14. No way that's going to be close enough to go for it. Was later on the brakes, but pressure has to settle in for 10th place. DRS is now enabled on lap 10 after the safety car, and Zexify's lead is less than a second, so we'll be under pressure from the AlphaTauri. More yellow flags as a contact, possible contact between the Haas and the Ferrari again. More contact between these two. No love lost from turn number 7. Side by side into the final corner. The Haas has spun round into a spin. I'm not sure what's gone on between those two that's kind of shaken the bed. But Rudd with still with the front wing damage he's sustained from the start of the race. Going for it on his rivals is Nico Zora with a good old switcheroo, and John Wick maintains 5th place as they go side by side in towards turn 8. And it looks like it's the Alpine to get ahead of the Ferrari, although it's not going to be done and dusted just yet. Our Pitter staying close to the back. Sorry, John Wick staying onto the back of Nico Zora's Alpine. Speaking of our Pitter, his progress down in 6th place under pressure from his best friend Denrod, it seems, at the start of the race. Yellow flags in the middle sector. That's Terra Teddy and the Williams losing control some, and then you dip the wheel on the grass as Zexify with an 8-10th lead, has 40% of his battery left. DRS wide open on the AlphaTauri as they make their way down towards turn 14. Two drivers who have been very clean this race, although Zexify's not had to do much after gaining a 10-second lead in the start of the race. Yellow flags in the middle sector, and it's another Mercedes off. This time it's Joshy. It's a disaster for Mercedes. There's no better way to put it. They have not had a good race. It's a race to forget here at China. Fake now pulls over to the right hand side of the circuit, the left hand side of the screen. It's the inside. Nico Zora's round. No, he's not. He's into the pits. Back to the battle. The Aston and the Mercedes side by side on the exit of the penultimate corner, side by side to the final corner, but Joshi gets ahead and stays ahead. Meanwhile, the Ferrari and the Haas battling once again for P16. Let's just keep an eye on this particular battle. It certainly is a battle. It's becoming more of a fight for 15th place as the Alpine of Nico Zora comes out to the pits, crossed the white line but didn't get a penalty, interestingly. But battles all over the circuit. The field's still tightly spread. Closely compact, I think, is what I don't know. It's not very spread at all. We've got plenty of battle scraps. Less than a second. Denrod getting ahead of our pitter. Will banging on the exit of turn 5. The Haas and the Ferrari, they've made contact more than once this race. They're side by side. There's more contact and there's second contact. The Ferrari is spun round through turn 8. And it's a rivalry that's gonna, I think, well, if it's not already ignited, then it's certainly on fire already. It's like dropping a match on a wooden shed that's coated in petrol. As Pius Juice gets overtaken by John Wick, might lose another position to Player, who sets himself nicely for the good old switcheroo down at the hairpin at turn 14. The Alfa Romeo on the McLaren side by side into the final corner. A corner there, that can happen. Contact and Pius Juice in the wall. He hasn't got damage, but he collected someone. I'm not sure who he collected, but it's not the first time it's happened in this race, and it's not the first time it's happened in previous races at China. Something that's really easy to do if you're the car on the outside. It's really easy to misjudge the position of the car on the inside, and the McLaren has retired manually from the session as Pusher gets, I think, overtaken by Billy Misu, as SW now side by side with the Haas. This is for a podium position. He was slapped in the face with a fish, and that fish came freshly served with a 5-place grid penalty in qualifying, but he's got himself back up to a podium position. He was second on pace in qualifying, and he's back up into third on the hard compound tyres. Hasn't made a pit stop in this race as of yet. Meanwhile, Billy Miso gets past Tom, because he has spun round through turn 8. We've had cars off, and I think every corner thus far this race. Yellow flags in the middle sector as the Williams gets back going again. Joshi and the Mercedes will be trying to capitalise on the Williams as his tyres are probably red hot and overheating. But the battle for the lead, Zexify still leads this race. He's led every single lap so far, but is under pressure from the Alfa Tauri behind. 4 tenths separating the top two, as the two cars behind battling, going side by side, the Haas and the Alfa Romeo, 2 Ferrari powered cars, SW and Nabil. One on the hards, one on the mediums. That's SW, who defends his third place with all his might as Pius has left the session. Josh and Fate now going side by side in the run down towards turn 14, as that could be late. It is late, hits the back of the Williams. They're 2 by 2 now on the exit of the corner. Tom getting involved in this battle for 11th place. Josh and Fate going side by side in towards the final corner. Fate plays it smart. He backs out, doesn't want to be swiped on the inside, which is really easy to do. He's under pressure though from Terra, whilst also trying to attack. There's 2 by 2 as there's a gap on the inside. There was an open door, but it was an open door that was always going to get slammed shut in the face of Fake, who tried to follow Joshi through, who got the move on Tom, but Tom was trying to prepare himself for turn 2, didn't see the Aston Martin, who's now under pressure from the Haas, who launches one to the inside at turn 2 and gets up in towards 12th place. Denrod now holds the 12th position slot. The Williams is battling with the Mercedes. It's Terra and Joshi side by side through turn 8. This time there's no contact. Oh, there is contact! I jinxed it! The commentator's curse. I've struck again. Terra spent spinning round, and it's another contact. It's another incident, and another one at turn 8. If this was the league race, well, I'm sure the stewards would be very busy, and quite a few claims coming in. 3 tenths separating the top 2, and the 2 cars behind battling once again. The top 4 keeping it very clean in this race, but it's Nabil who is got up into 3rd place, but SW is going to fight it into the final corner. They keep it clean. That's how you do it. SW up into 3rd place and will be promoted to 2nd as Zexify into the pits. The undercut on Yordif trying to maintain the lead of the race, but Nabil to the inside. That's very close. Just slight wheel bang with the Haas and the Alfa Romeo. They're still side by side. through the long swooping right-hander of turn 1, the left for turn 2, the snail section, it can be described as, and the cleanest fight on circuit has to be for these two, putting up a brilliant show for us as Nabil down to third, brought up into third place, but still behind the Alfa Romeo no matter what he tries. Terror and Fate now battling for 12th place. The Aston Martin against the Williams. The Aston comes out on top for now. We've got player trying to pressurise Billy Misu in this race, all pitting under the safety car for the hard compound tyres as a player gets overtaken by riders. He disconnected, I'm not too sure. Not sure if player's actually in the lobby. His car is AI, or it's ghosted. He could still be in the lobby, I'm not too sure. Might be, I think he is. Yeah, I think he could be still here. I don't know, but I say that hesitantly because I called someone an AI in a previous stream because I thought they disconnected. Is Nabil going to send it on John Wick? He belly is in towards the final corner. That looked late on the brakes, but is that because Nabil setting himself up for the old switcheroo? Goes wide, will get a good run through the final corner. That's a beautiful exit from SW. Now up into second place, and through the final corner they go. Yordif's into the pits, reacting to Sexify's undercut attempt, and these two now will be 1 and 2. SW takes the lead of the race. Going in towards lap 15, turn 1, they go once again in this order. Nabil just can't get past that Alfa Romeo. Where will Yordif come out in position to Zexify? It is behind. Zexify's got the jump and he's maintained the lead of the race. And has he got a bigger advantage? He has got a bigger advantage. The gap now a second. It's out of DRS. Yordif now needs to use the advantage of the fresh hard tyres, get them up to speed as quickly as possible, up to temperature ASAP, so he can use the advantage of the fresher rubber to capitalise the Red Bull as he now starts closing in on some traffic. But the front two still keeping it nice and clean in this race. Terra trying to get past Fake once again. Player being overtaken by Zex by the Red Bull. Now up into 6th place. Yordif will be trying his best to get his AlphaTauri up an extra position because he's got an Alfa Romeo in between himself and the net race leader. Although, actually no, never mind, I'll say that although, because I thought, never mind, the top 3 staying out on their tyres have yet to make a pit stop, but I don't think it'll be too long until we see the house of Nabil into the pit to be right on board with the AlphaTauri, who might be close enough to go for a move. Not too sure. I don't think he'll be close enough on this occasion. Down towards the hairpin. What about further towards the back? Nico Zora under pressure from Pressure Dino as Yordif gets past the player. 400 metres. I don't know if that's what the M stands for. Could be metres, could be monkeys, money. I don't know. Pushing now to the inside of Nico Zora, late on the brakes and the fresh medium tyres. Gets up into 14th place, so he's starting his charge through the field. Zexify's next target is Rerd, who is on 11 lap old hard compound tyres. Pitted under the safety car. Is there going to be a send to the inside at turn 5? Not on this lap, but Zexify has gained an advantage on Yordif behind. He's got a good run through turn 5 into through turn 6. Can he swoop it round the outside? This could be a beautiful move. What a move round the outside. It's so good that my throat is just completely dried up. But a beautiful move nevertheless from Zexify. Puts him into 5th place, and his hunt for Billy Misu starts now. And in theory, Billy Misu doesn't need to make another pit stop. It's whether those 10 lap hards can make it to the end of the race. We'll be doing 22 laps on said tyre. It will be a tough job. The gap out in front has opened up to 2.6 seconds. Those tyres do not look healthy on the Haas. Is Nabil trying to go for a soft to medium? No, he's into the pits. Actually, no. Oh, he's gone wide. Can he do... These guys might be going on to softs, possibly. I think Nabil could be going on to soft compound tyres, and it's not a strategy I would recommend at China. Although I've not driven many races on this track yet to get my view on the soft compound tyres, but they would really overheat in previous F1 games. There's a change in the AlphaTauri positioning. Jordiff now gets ahead of his teammate Rudd for 4th place. It's mediums for SW, hards for Nabil. There goes the soft tyre theory. Yellow flags in the first sector. Who's round? That was Nabil, straight from the pit lane. He's spun round. Whether that's due to the cold, hard compound tyres yet to get up to temperature, or if there was contact, I have absolutely no idea. It could be either. Joshy on old hard compound tyres. I don't think he could put up much of a fight to SW on fresh mediums. But I think he might try and keep as close to the Mercedes as possible. Stay within the DRS. So just gain that little bit more extra down the straight and put him ahead of his rivals in this race. Jordiff is gaining on Zexfire. The gap now 9/10 of a second, nearly in the DRS range. Has got more overtake to play with. Zexfire's got a 3-second gap to Billy Misu in front, which will start to come down. Yellow flags in the middle sector. That's because there's an Aston Martin round. That is fake off down at turn 13. As Jordiff has set the fast lap of the race, and he's round again. Chill out, man, chill. Easy on the throttle, easy on the throttle. There you go. Now be careful, you've got some dirt in your tyres. Gone from commentary to engineering. Billy Misu, though, gaining on the race leader John Wick, who's done 17 laps on the hard compound tyres. I believe he is trying to push them to go for a set of the red striped softs for the end of this race. The fastest tyre available as SW gets ahead of his teammate, now up into 5th place. It's been a good recovery drive from the Alfa Romeo driver from his grid penalty in qualifying, up into 5th place. More yellow flags, as is that Aston Martin retiring in the pits. No, it's not. It's just Aston Martin coming into the pits. Zexify gaining on the top 2 with his fresh hard compound tyres. John Wick, the only driver yet to pit in this race. We're going to see a potential move for the lead here on lap 18. Billy Misu with the DRS wide open. John Wick defends the inside line, parks his car in the middle of the circuit. Billy Misu's going to try and swoop this run right on the outside. John Wick forces him almost off the circuit. Billy Misu has to back out of it in the end. John Wick keeps the lead of the race, but is he going to be into the pits at the end of this lap? Not on lap 18. Stays out for another lap as Zexify and Jordiff now join the back of this train. It's a 4-way fight for the lead between the Mercedes, the Ferrari and the Red Bull. 3 cars that are known for fighting for the front 3 in real life, and they're fighting for the front 3 here again in China, with the unexpected arrival of an AlphaTauri, although said driver has been fighting up in this position for a while in this race. So it's not unexpected that he's in this battle for the lead of the race. Nico Zora gets ahead of the McLaren as he pulls into the pits. But John Wick kind of holding up this train on his 18-lap old hards. You'd imagine everyone else behind has got a superior grip advantage. With only 10 laps to go in this race and limited time to get moves done. Look at the pressure Billy Misu is applying. We could see a potential three wide moment down towards turn 13. Is Zexify going to go for it here? Not on this occasion. He's going to wait for the DRS. He's going to be smart. He's going to be patient. But this has bring Jordiff into this battle with Zexify for the lead of the race. Yellow flags through the middle sector. That is Nabil off in the Haas. Meanwhile, up in front, John Wick's got a 5/10 advantages. It's going to come down with the DRS. Is Billy Misu going to send it? Not on this lap. He's going to stay behind for another lap to go. But look at the Ferrari struggling with the tyres. Billy Misu on the exit of the corner. They're going to go side by side. Does John Wick want to come into the pits? I think he tries. No, he's not trying to come into the pits. But Zexify is now stuck behind the Ferrari. It's all fighting for position. Billy Misu takes the lead of the race. What's Zexify going to try and do in towards turn 1? Can he try and swoop around the outside? This is going to be better than the move he made at turn 8. Swoops around the outside. Oh, what a move What a move if he can keep it. That's beautifully executed by the Red Bull driver. Up into second place, swooped around the outside of the Ferrari, made it look easy. That Red Bull on rails, it seemed, as Jordiv tries to go now around the outside of the Ferrari in the battle for third place and used the fresh tyres to his advantage. Almost got forced off the circuit initially, but with the grip, gets through up into third place. Now he can hunt down his fight for the lead of the race with it's Xfy and Billy Meese. But a beautiful move from the Welsh driver. I believe he's Welsh. His flag's Welsh in the game anyway. I could play it safe and say British. Denrod and Pushdina now going side by side. The Haas getting ahead of the Red Bull up into 8th place. But he's on 15 lap old hard compound tyres. Pushdina trying to find a gap on the inside. They're going to go side by side through turn 8 and 9 in towards the left-hander of turn 10. Sorry, turn 9 in towards this is turn 10. Is Pushdina going to go for a move in towards turn 11? Unlikely to see for a move. Xfy takes the lead of the race. I didn't realise these guys were already at the hairpin at the end of the straight as Xfy takes the lead of the race away from Billy Mee. So Jordiv now will be trying to get ahead of the Mercedes on very worn hard compound tyres. You can see the grip the AlphaTauri has through the final corner is alongside the Mercedes and will get ahead before turn 1. An easy move, probably the easiest he's had to make in this race. 8 laps to go. Oh, the Mercedes have slowed one back down the inside. The door is closing. Contact between those two guys. John Wick's into the pits onto the soft compound tyres. He's going to be rapid in this final stint. But Jordiv now will be challenging Xfy for the lead of the race. 7/10 between the two drivers. Billy Meese, who's going to struggle to keep up with them on his old hard compound tyres, but will do his absolute best. John Wick's been sent out in a bit of traffic behind Denrod, and Pushdino. As Nabil gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Let's just keep an eye on this battle for 8th place. So I think John Wick might have the grip on a fresh set of softs against 16 lap old Haas to try and go for something here through the technical S's section. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead of the race, it's just opened up slightly. 7/10 between the top two. I don't think Jordi's going to be close enough to go for anything on this lap. Meanwhile, we've got a beautiful ahead of camera shots of John Wick all over the back of the house, using the soft tyres to his advantage. Maybe he's going to go to the inside at turn 13. He's got that much grip, be right on board with the Ferrari, tucks into the slipstream beautifully. He's got a good exit down the 1 kilometre back straight, opens up the DRS, pulls over to the left-hand side of the circuit and swoops past the house, which is now firmly in its mirrors. I know it's not, because it's launched one back down to the inside super late on the brakes. But John Wick says, hi, I'll take my racing line, and goes back up into 8th place. A good move from the Ferrari driver. Now can challenge for the top two. It's not a good day for Nabil because he's lost it in the middle sector on the fresh soft compound tyres. It's a 3-second time penalty for Nico Zora as Nabil gets his way back onto the circuit. The top two separated by 0.5 of a second. The closest battle on circuit, and Nabil's off again. Down at turn 9. No safety car needed as he gets facing the right direction once again. 7/10 between the two. Xfy on 1 lap. Warner hard compound tyres, but they should be fairly similar, you'd think, in terms of pace. Pushdino gets ahead of Player gets overtaken by John Wick. And I appreciate the football, I think, has just finished. So appreciate for those guys who have missed the World Cup to watch this stream. We had Argentina play Poland and Saudi Arabia play Mexico. So thank you guys for tuning in. If there are, let me know if you are a football fan in the chat. How's your nation doing in the World Cup? Are they doing well? Are they already through to the knockout stages, or are they? It doesn't look like they're gonna miss out this year. Let us know in the chat how your nation's doing. But the battle for the lead continues to roar on. We've got Pristino as well, making his way through the field. Was leading. We've got a Portuguese fan in the chat saying Portugal is the best. Not really sure what to comment. But I mean, Portugal do, on paper, have a decent team. We've got cheers for the Netherlands as well. I honestly think Netherlands are the Netherlands are my dark horse to actually go on and win this World Cup. I don't think it's going to be as likely as, you know, people thinking Brazil, Argentina, France, but I think the Netherlands could go some distance. They got a decent squad. But the battle for the lead. Let's get back to the racing action, because Zexify, he hasn't quite led every single lap. But he's doing his best. Obviously, being British, I've got to support the British guys. I always go side by side between Rudd and player Pristino and John Wick. The battle for 6th place with the fresh soft compound tyres. John Wick is on a charge up into 6th place. But guys, it's coming home. We all know that the English, I believe that they will go on and win this thing. I've got to say, obviously, you know, there's no point in me sitting here saying they're not going to win. So we've got Portugal, we've got Netherlands as well in the chat, a few more nations coming in as well. 5 laps to go in this race. We've kind of diverted onto the World Cup slightly. Let's get back to racing action. The top 2 separated by 5 tenths, but they've been so closely matched since the safety car restart on lap 8. But it looks like Zexify's just got that little bit extra to keep Yordif behind in this race. With the new regulations, the AlphaTauri will be able to follow the Red Bull a little bit closer through the middle sector, but he's got a good run, a good toe. You with the DRS wide open, he's gaining on the Red Bull, but he needs a little bit more straight in order to make the move on this occasion. He's getting closer and closer to the back of the Red Bull. He's seen that rear wing for quite the number of laps now in this race. It's all going to be about keeping it clean, keeping it on the track, not getting any penalties. Speaking of, one comes flying in from the Aston Romeo. That's the new team name, the Alfa Romeo of SW. So Yordif, he's 2 tenths behind Zexify through the first sector. I missed that. I was too busy looking at the chat, but he's got a slap of oversteer on the exit, and that's cost him dearly. He's able to keep it on the track. Just when I was saying it's about keeping it in a straight line and on the circuit, he's gone and made a mistake, and he's now 2 seconds behind Zexify. He's now got a little bit of breathing space. He can maybe charge the battery a little bit, plan ahead for a possible defensive manoeuvre that he might need to pull off from the charging cars behind, because he's got Billy Misu and SW also gaining on these guys for the top 2, but they do have penalties. Not many drivers with penalties, but a big mistake from Yordif. He's made another one. It's another mistake, and here comes Billy Misu, who's now in with a chance for 2nd place. A slide from SW. We've got a 3-way fight now for 2nd place, and although 2 drivers got time penalties, there could be an incident which changes things. Zexify now on course to win this race. Yellow flags in the 3rd sector. I think that's the Aston Martin moving out of the way for the 2 guys coming through, Billy Misu and SW. We've got a 3-way fight for 2nd place. Unfortunately, one of these drivers won't finish on the podium, but there are still post-race penalties that could determine things. I'm not sure who exactly has been involved in incidents. All I do know is the Mercedes, despite being involved in many of incidents, have done well to get back up into 3rd and 6th place. What I can tell you is that the battle for the lead in the top 5 has been clean. But with only 3 laps to go, not long left to make overtakes. Tom getting ahead of player down and towards the hairpin of turn 14, gets up into 10th place, and if he can finish there, will score 1 singular point for the Williams team. Who's playing in the World Cup tomorrow? We've got Croatia, Belgium, Japan, Spain, Canada, Morocco, Costa Rica, Germany. Good luck to anyone watching who's got who's from those nations or supports any of those nations playing tomorrow. Obviously, if you're watching this live, those games are tomorrow. If you're not watching it live, then those games are on the 1st of December. How is it December? Yellow flags in the 3rd sector. That's fake with a spin at the final corner. Now would be a great time for a safety car. But it's lap 26 to 28, so we will not be getting the safety car out on the track. But what we will have is a 3-way fight between 3 different teams for 2nd place. Fake picks up a 3-second time penalty as Jordi leads from Billy Misu from SW in their battle for 2nd place. Zexify starts the penultimate lap of the race here at this chaotic China event. This track always provides action, always provides drama. I think one that's pretty overhated at the best of times. Oh dear, we've got a retirement at the final corner. Our pit is into the pits, but it's not going to bring out a safety car. What's happened there? Oh dear, that's... Oh, dearie me, that didn't look good. I thought there was about to be a massive shunt in towards the final corner, but thankfully it was a ghosted car, not on the spectator cam. I don't like it when Gav goes quiet in the chat, because usually I see him at the start of the chat, but he's been a bit quiet tonight, have you, Gav? You've not been around, is it? I think he's got the commentary on mute, that's what he's got. He's kind of subtitles, and he's had enough of me. I've been around since, what, 2019 now? How long has that gone? I remember getting the invite from Gav all those years ago, but F1 2019 was my first game in this league. Here goes SW, let's brush over that. He fakes to the inside, pulls over to the outside on the Mercedes in the battle for 3rd place, tries to swoop around the outside, makes a little bit of contact. They go wheel to wheel on the exit of the corner, side by side in the run up towards the final corner. SW gets up into 3rd place, onto a podium position. But here comes Billy Misu, will try and fight this one back on the final lap of the race. SW goes defensive to the inside, hugs the inside line, going in towards turn 1, a long swooping right-hander, side by side. It's worn hards against fresh mediums. The Mercedes sees the door on the inside, doesn't send it this time, plays it smartly, learned from his mistakes. A couple of laps to go in this race, and we'll settle for 4th place for now. Let's have a look at the penalties. 3 seconds for SW, and Billy Misu is on 3 as well. Is that the life left in Billy Misu's tyre? It's gone. He's got to keep it within a second to get the DRS, but I don't think he's got enough left in the tank to go for it. SW can't quite keep up with Jordi in this race. It looks like the top 4 are going to stay stationary. They're 21 seconds clear of the next car behind John Wick, who tried an aggressive strategy from hards to pit for the softs at the ends, but it didn't quite work out. Well, I think it actually has quite worked out well, because he's gained a few positions from his qualifying slot, but the man who started this race on pole position, it's X5 for the Red Bull team. He defended beautifully from Jordi. He done everything he had to do. He managed the gap behind. He kept it clean. He's got no warnings, no penalties, no incidents, and nothing that will deter him from finishing this race on the top step of the podium. He's got 1 more corner to go, and 28 laps later, from pole position to the checkered flag, it's Xify wins here in China, and it's going to be followed up by Jordi in 2nd, and SW in 3rd, Billy Misu in 4th place. But a brilliant drive from the Red Bull driver. Who got the faster lap? Was it a Grand Slam? Was it a grand? No, it wasn't. Terra Teddy got the fastest lap, and is actually battling for 10th place on the final lap of the race. Gets the move done up into the points as John Wick rounds the final corner for the Ferrari team. Finishes in 5th place, 6 seconds ahead of Joshi, who's been involved in a number of different incidents will finish in 6th. Pochettino in 7th place for the Red Bull team. Rudd in 8th, finishes ahead of Denrod in 9th. And this could be quite close actually between Terra and Player, because Terra's got a time penalty. What about Player? Up to the line. Can he sneak into the top 10? Yes, he can, ahead of Terra. Nico Zora in 12th, ahead of Tom, who will finish his race in 14th place. Jamin in 14th, as Nabil in 15th. Arpita finished in 6th place. I think he got the fastest lap. Indeed, he did. Got the fastest lap in the end. But it's Sexify takes the win here at China for the Red Bull team. It's unfortunate he's in a Red Bull. Would have looked so much better in a different car. But does win from pole. Something that cannot be said in GT. Oh no, that has already happened. Never mind. For those familiar with the GT7 League, we had a curse for the first 7 races of the season. Whoever took pole position didn't finish on the podium in that race, but that was broken at round 7 by a familiar name, Dan Schneider. But that's not the occasion tonight, because it's from the pole to the win. It's Xify. Not gonna lie, I'm sorry if you heard that. Someone was screaming, and I thought that was the fire alarm. Fire alarm's a lot louder than that, and you'd hear it if it was the fire alarm. But it went off this morning, so it shouldn't go off again. Don't worry, I'm not on fire. But it's a great race and a great win for Xify. The Red Bull team will be happy with his performance as the podium celebrations are underway here in China. It's victory for Wales, and unfortunately the same can't be said in the World Cup. Spain for Jordi finish in 2nd place, and it's SW rounding out the top 3 in 3rd place. Billy Mitsu just missing out on the podium in 4th. John Wick in 5th with Josh in 6th. Pusher in 7th place ahead of Rudd in 8th. Denrod in 9th, and Player sneaking to the top 10 on time penalties. Terra in 11th ahead of Nico Zora in 12th. Tom in 13th place with Jamin in 14th. Nabil in 15th with Arpeta in 16th. Flake in 17th. Paistu in 18th. Andries in 19th, and Fetz rounding up the top 20 in last place in 20th position. The 4 drivers unfortunately did not finish this race. But that is it. That is the 28 laps of China, the one-off event here at Gavra Racing. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more action-packed motor racing here on the channel. Stay tuned for more GT7 action live now on Saturday evenings. The race is being raced on Fridays, but I'm on the grid and I also do commentary, so I will stream it the day later on the Saturday evening. So stay tuned for great racing. Honestly, I cannot say enough how great the racing is on GT Sport. So check it out. It's a must. It's a must watch. But the racing here was fantastic once again. Thank you, Xify, for the comments on the commentary. And maybe this will spark my return to F1 commentary. Maybe get me in the mood to return to F1. I've taken a bit of a break as I've got more into GT7, the Nations Cup, the Manufacturers Cup, and the GT Cup over on GT7. It's kind of been my jam recently, which I've got a race tonight in 40 minutes, which is why I was messaging Gavra this morning about how long the race is and what time it is, but it's all good. I know, a race at 10 o'clock, can you believe it? I've got a race on Tuesday, had a race yesterday for the Nations Cup, Manufacturers tonight. No, sorry, GT Cup was Tuesday, Manufacturers Cup tonight, Nations Cup tomorrow, Gavra's League race on Friday. Wow, it's unbelievable. Things I do. Anyway, it was a pleasure commentating once again for this F1 event. Make sure to stay tuned. Keep an eye out in the announcements chat on the Discord server. If you're not in, you can find the link in our website, or just message one of us. We'll send you a link to the server. I'm sure Gavra's working on some more F1 events. We've also got the Weekend League up on the weekend. Pretty self-explanatory what days that's on. Goodbye, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time. Should be on Saturday for GT7 at Interlagos. Goodbye.